Okay, good day. So let's have a look. Today we are going to speak about the quick system of the manufacturer Ling & Yankee. Ling & Yankee is very well known for their very robust and good KNX devices. It's one of the first manufacturers we are working together with, and as I said, we never have problems with those devices. We have sold many of these devices, and they are very robust, very good functionality, very robust devices. About the functionality, the KNX functions has been updated lately. The switching actuators are only switching actuators, and the shutter actuators are only shutter actuators. So you cannot do both with them. But let's speak today about the new functions, the quick functionality. Now, if you are an electrician and you don't know KNX, you don't know anything about what is home automation installation, but you're interested and you're curious and you want to launch yourself in this world, then these devices are the best option for you. Together with our online training, you can even do the next step also. We'll have a look at that later. So these devices, as I said, are the best step to introduce yourself into the world of KNX and into the home and building automation. Why is that so? Because you only need a screwdriver to configure these devices. You don't need a PC, you don't need ETS, you don't need to know what are the group addresses, physical addresses, and all of those things you learn in the KNX training. So you only need a screwdriver, and with this you can configure the devices. There are small setting coding switches on the device. With the screwdriver, you just set up the different coding switches to the channels and the groups you want to configure it and the function you want to do, and then it's done. The way to program it is also very easy. You just press a button and it's programmed in 2-3 seconds. So it's extremely easy and extremely fast to program. So as I said, these devices can be extremely useful to do a KNX installation without having the knowledge of KNX at all. And what's the advantage of doing it like that? Now, KNX has a lot of advantages. I would really like you to go to our webpage, which we'll show to you, and then you can go to the training part where you will see the whole KNX online training with how to configure the devices with the ETS, how to configure everything with the ETS, and how to connect all the devices also. So it's a complete training to be a KNX integrator. So please go into our webpage and have a look at that also. But don't be afraid to use KNX. With these devices, really, everybody can do a KNX installation in a short time, and obviously with a reduced price because the time is short, and the devices also have a very interesting list price. Okay, now let's go on. What we're going to do now is to show you how to program these devices. Now, usually these are KNX devices, as I told you before, and usually you need a ETS to program the device. Now, with these devices, it's very easy. You just need to configure these coding switches here on the devices. Now, there are different types of coding switches. Let's have a look at this one, where we have the M, manual, so the mode, CH is for channel, and then the group X and the group Y. Now, the mode, it's written on the device, so it's easy you don't need to go into a manual, even you can just check it on the proper device what the function you want to do. So with the M0, you've got switching and dimming, and you will send always a 0. So independent of which button you press, it will send a 0. With the M equal to 1, so if you change now this there to the 1, you will have switching 0 on, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. So if you press it once, it will switch on. If you press it again, it will switch off. Press it again, switch on, it will always toggle. So in this one, it won't toggle, it will always switch to 0. This one will toggle. So this one can be used to switch on and off a light, for instance, whereas this one is for a central off function, useful for a central off function, and it will include as well the switching lights and the dimming functions for that. So you will be able to switch off, for instance, all the lights and all the dimming lights. Okay. With the m equals to 2, it's used for the dimming, and m equal to 3, it's for the shutter. The same you can see in other devices. The difference between these devices, for instance, this device and the other devices, you have a extra group Y. So let's have first a look at the channels. So the channel selection, you can set it, for instance, to 0. If it's set to 0, it's all channels. So if you want to select, for instance, channel 1, you just turn the selector to 1. And then you have to set the actuator to the same channel. So as I said, if you want to use this, for instance, this button, to switch off all the lights, then you would use it in the channel 0, for instance, so that all the lights of the device will switch on and off. Now, how do you connect a button with an actuator? That is done with the groups. So you have a group X and a group Y in this case. So you can either use the single group to switch on and off a single channel, or you can use the additional group for the Y, for instance. So it doesn't make really sense in the push button to use both groups, but in the actuator it makes more sense, because there you can have the sending group address and the listening group address. So and the sending group address is also used for listening. As you know, in KNX, if you are familiar with KNX, then you would know that the group addresses, the object can only send one group address to the bus. In this case, it can listen to various. So in this case, as well, the X and the Y will listen to this command. So now let's have a look at how it works. So let's set this one, for instance, very easy function. Let's set this one to channel, the function 1, which is switching on off. Then we set this one here to channel 1, okay? And we use the group, for instance, let's say group 2, to put all of them the same. So the switching function, channel 1, and group 2. So then we go to on-off switching actuator. In the on-off switching actuator, we will set now the channel was channel 1, and the group here we set to 2. So we've got channel 1, group 2. Now see how easy it is to program the device. You just press the button in 2-3 seconds, the LED goes off, then it's already programmed. Now I press the button of the actuator, 2-3 seconds, it switches off, and then it's programmed. And now you can switch on and off this channel. So it's as easy as that. Okay, so as we saw, this one is now to switch on and off the channel 1. Now let's say we want to, with this push button here, we want to switch on all the channels and switch off all the channels. So now, but you don't want to lose the on-off functionality of the first button. This one should still be able to switch on and off the channel. Now that's why you will use the Y. The Y is then for the second group address, which you will be sending, if you know what I'm speaking about. If you don't know about KNX, don't worry. That's the second addressing feature which you have here. So now you just turn this now, for instance, to the 4, and then you can turn this, for instance, to the 4. I'm using a 4 just randomly. You can use it to any number, which is a unique number for Y. And then let's say I want to control all channels, so I will set this to 0. 0 means all channels. If I would have set it to 1, it will also switch to channel 1. But let's do it to all channels. I program this now, and I program this now. So now it's programmed. I still can switch on and off with this one, but now I can switch on and off all the channels of this one. Let's check quickly. the channel 4 here. I set this to 0 for... Okay, sorry. This one is set to 0, but I have to set it to the switching function. Okay? Now, you set the program again. As you see, if you have made a small mistake, it's very, very fast to program it again. Now, it switches on all, it switches off all. So as you see, it's very, very fast to do diagnostic also. So you just check, okay, it didn't work. Why it didn't work? Okay, it's because of this. So then you can switch on all, off all from here. And from here, you can switch on and off the first channel. Because now this one sends the group address to all the channels, and this one sends the group address just to this channel. So in this channel, both this one and this one is linked. This one is linked with the X, and this one is linked with the Y. Okay, so just to recap, we've got this switches on and off this channel here, and this one is to switch on and off all the channels. Now let's say the customer says afterwards he wants to program and he puts another light, he puts another actuator on it. Let's say he connects this actuator and he wants to switch on and off the, this channel 2, for instance, with the same push button. So let's see how easy it is. You only go to the actuator, you set the X to the channel, to the 2, sorry, to the number 2, because the X is channel is number 2, and then you will set. Okay, this one switches now on the first channel, so it will switch on this channel, not the second channel. We want to switch on the channel 1 of this one. So you just go here, you press the programming button, it's programmed. Now this one will switch on also. Okay, so now you've got both those devices switched on at the same time. Now you can switch it on and switch it off from there, for instance. Okay, now this one obviously doesn't switch on and off with this button, because you need to configure the Y. Now to configure the Y, you will need to set this one here in the 4 and program it. Okay, and now if you switch it, it will switch off and on all the channels from here, because the Y is also now connected to this one. From here, you will switch on and off both of the first channels, as we said, and from here you can switch on and off all those channels. So you can do quite a combination of switchings with this. Okay. So let's see now, let's say we want to use this push button to control, for instance, the blind. Now this is a blind actuator. In the blind actuator, we've got M buttons, because we can configure different types of blinds or shutters. So you can see in the manual how to configure this exactly. Let's say, anyway, it's very easy to see. Also, there's a sticker on it. So if it's M0, it's blind. And if it's M2, it's shutter. So let's say it's a shutter, and let's say we want to configure, for instance, channel 4. So we put this on a shutter. Operation shutter is without slats, so just going up and down. So we put it on 2. Now we need to configure the push button and the channel in the actuator still. So let's say the channel, let's put it to something different. Let's say 8, for instance, just to be different. Now 8 here, we connect now this one to channel 4, because we want to control channel 4. Obviously we need to set the type of switching we want to do, and we want to do a shutter switching. So we will have to set this on the value 3. And then the channel is channel 4, which is this channel here. And the X, we want to set it to the value 8, for instance. Okay, value 8, because we set this one here, the X, to value 8. Now this one is the same as this one. This one is for the channel, and this one is for the function. The function here is shutter operation, and the function there is shutter without blinds. Now to program it, it's as easy as pressing the button. The LED switches on quickly and it switches off. Press this button, LED switches on, switches off, and it's as easy as this. Now this one can blind up, stop, blind down, stop, and it doesn't have slat movements because it's just a normal shutter. So if I blind up, stop, blind down, stop. If I want to change it to a shutter functionality, the M of the channel must be set, for instance, now to blind. So if I set this now to blind, and I program this one, now it will do the blind functionality. So if I press this now short, it does the slat movement in one direction or in another direction. Long to move the blind, short press stops the blind. Long press here moves the blind down, short press stops the blind. So there I can do the slat adjustments. Okay, so it's very, very, very easy to program, as you can see. Okay, so let's use now this one, for instance, to switch on and off the dimmer and also to dim the light. Now let's say we want to control, this is a 4-channel dimmer, let's say we want to control the channel 2, this is channel 1, this is channel 2. So to configure this, I need to set up the channel 2 in my push button interface, okay? And obviously I need to set the type of function. So the type of function is dimming function here. I set it to the value 2, which is the dimming function there. And let's use the group, for instance here, the F, just to use a different one. Group here at the dimmer, I need only to set to F there. And then you just program it. So now you program it here. You program it there. And now if you press this one on, the channel 2 switches on. If you press it off, it switches off, on. And now if you press and hold, you dim it down. It goes a little bit slow. Oh, and it switches off. I want go and dim, hold, it dims up. Up, 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 up. Okay, and you can switch off and on again. Okay, so this is also extremely easy to configure the dimmer. Now let's say we want to switch, for instance, the dimmer off with a central on-off function here. So for that, we need to set up the Y. Let's put all the Ys in the 4. So we will put the Y, for instance, here for the lightings there, 4, 4. And the Y in this one, we set it also to 4. And we use the central off function, which switches off always. So we use this one to 0. And now we can program this one again. And we can program the dimmer, which was the one which has been changed. Okay. Now, afterwards, if I press this one now, it switches all off. And let's switch on the dimmer first. So the dimmer, if I switch it again, it switches all off. So it doesn't matter where I press, I will always switch off. Now this one there is off and off. So if I switch on this, for instance, I switch on the dimmer, okay? And I want to switch off everything now, I just click there and everything goes off. Okay, so it's extremely easy to add, to change, to configure the functions of the devices. Within a couple of minutes, the devices are programmed. Now, if this is a small installation, obviously, it can be done very, very fast. If it's a bigger installation, then you would need to keep track of all the settings of the devices. And if the installation gets even bigger, then it's very complicated with this. Then it's better to use the ETS, so to program it with the ETS. But as I said in the introduction, this big advantage is you can do a small to medium-sized installation with these devices, with these configurations extremely fast. Say it has KNX, and obviously the devices have a very interesting price, and you will have an installation with a very low price, programming and everything. Okay, so as you can see, the programming was very fast, but let's say the installer wants to use now these same devices and he wants to do an installation with the KNX with the ETS, and he wants to add a lot of new functions, and he wants to add a lot of new features. He can do it with the ETS. That's very easy also. You just set all the screws again to 0. All the selectors, you set it to 0. Okay. Now if all of them are at 0, the device will be in ETS programming mode. Not programming mode, sorry, in ETS normal group addresses mode. So then you don't need to do anything. You just set it all to 0. Now, if you set it to 0, you can just program it with the ETS. Okay, I don't need to set everything now. You set all of them to 0, and then you download with the ETS your configuration. Then you have a normal KNX installation programmed with the ETS.